We live?
We're
We're
live.
going live. Welcome, all you business geeks, to the Business Geeks podcast, where we geek business. I'm Super Joe Pardo, and I'm joined by my two wonderful co-hosts who push me every week to be more super, including like why I'm rocking this awesome shirt right now, and sweatpants. It was a party down below and work up top, or however that saying goes with the mullet. I don't know, because I don't rock a mullet. Anyway, this week we are discussing good, bad, and ugly branding messages during this pandemic. We also have a couple other topics we're going to talk about, like our one cool thing about how you can get a gorgeous looking picture like this that I'm using right now to make my two co-hosts super jealous. We'll also be talking about a site that is something about switching or apps or something like that. I don't know. We'll find out more when we get to the one cool thing segment. Jennifer Crawford, the co-founder of Sparent.co. Jennifer, how are you feeling tonight?
Feeling good.
What's good feel like? Come on now.
I mean, it feels like our intro music.
Oh, it does, doesn't it? I hope everyone's like it. We're gonna have to play it again at some point throughout, because when we get more people watching, right, because obviously it takes minutes for people to find us on their phone. I don't have my phone. Where's my phone? My phone's in my pocket. To find us on their phone and then watch us. So hopefully people start joining us soon. Oh, and just like that, universe provides.
There you go.
Yeah. So all right, Jennifer and Sam. Samantha Riley of SamanthaRiley.global. How are you feeling this morning?
I'm doing so good, Joe. Any show that starts with some groovy music like that, so I can have a bit of a dance, that's fantastic.
The dancer in you is coming out. It's
Absolutely.
Great to hear.
Yeah. And how are you doing, Super Joe Pardo?
My everything hurts right now. Honestly, I was putting a hole in the wall yesterday, so we could walk between our two garages, and maybe later on, I'll switch over to that when I do the one cool thing. And it, just everything's aching. I didn't even want to get out of bed this morning. And I've taken taken off the last 4 days. Well, actually today makes it 5. So just trying to take it easy as much as I can to try to do some self-care and self-repair, I guess. I didn't mean to that, but
all for a good cause.
Yeah. So I could be more ready for things like this and things like my kids and my wife and the other show I do on Wednesday night, the Indie podcast. Anyway, let's talk about good and bad and the ugly when it comes to brand messaging during the pandemic. Jen, you had a whole bunch of notes this week to show us. So what you want to kick it off for us?
I am nothing without my notes. I love taking notes. The nerdy schoolgirl in me will never die. But the topic of the good, bad, and ugly brand messaging was of interest to us because Mark Cuban came out several weeks ago, and I think he made a good point by saying that the messaging that the brands are coming out with during this time is going to potentially define them either good or badly in the years to come, for years to come. So it's really important during this time to get your brand messaging right. And so, we collected some examples of some major brands that we think are tackling this challenge in a good way, some not so good, and some pretty ugly. But, essentially, we want to consider how brands need to reassess whether they're a big brand like some of the ones we're mentioning tonight, or, a small business. You need to reassess your content marketing strategy to make sure that you are delivering an authentic, relevant, yet sensitive message that doesn't damage your brand that you've worked so hard on for years to come. So that's essentially the topic. It's challenging, right? I mean, I think all of us have struggled a bit with how to market, how to be consistent with our brand, yet sensitive to the situation. And it's a situation that's fluctuating day by day. I mean, we're all a little more stressed than normal. Thor, my husband and I went on a little drive today because it's a beautiful, beautiful day here in Virginia, beautiful spring day. And just for a change of scenery, in our short drive, we were honked at 3 times. 3 times. Honked at aggressively. Because the light turned green and we didn't quite, hit the gas quickly enough. I think people are a little more on edge than normal. So, even more important to get the brand messaging right, because people are going to tear you apart if you don't.
So true. I think that because people are hyper emotional at the moment, we're remembering things a lot. I remember one of the first branding messages that I saw when the pandemic hit, and I just thought, oh my goodness, you didn't think that one through, did you? And I'm really remember it. And for anyone that knows me quite well, I actually have the brain of a gnat. I do not remember anything, but I think that people are remembering because we're hypersensitive and hyper emotional.
I think that's true.
Yeah.
I think that's true. Our nerves are on edge. Who can blame us? Look at the world is going through something right now.
Mm-hmm.
We're all going through something right now and experiencing it in different ways. And just because maybe you're not having such a hard time, you can't forget that other people are really, really struggling, have lost family members. Maybe they're sick themselves. This is just, of all the times to be cognizant of how you're affecting people. This is the time to really be self-aware as a business.
Absolutely.
Yeah. One of the was commercials that I keep hearing. So I listen to local sports talk radio, and obviously it's really been tough for them because there's no sports to talk about. So they're like, oh, NFL draft. We're going to talk about that for the next 3 or 4 weeks. Cause there just isn't enough, things going on in the sports world. But I had to hear the same 10 commercials over and over and over and over again between the actual talk. And one of them, and I posted this in the independent podcasters group that I run, was about Dell Small Business and their Podference. They've, they're small businesses are going, dealing with these crazy struggling times, and small businesses are looking for resources in these difficult times. So we're bringing an all-star lineup of podcasters, which I don't know. I wasn't asked. Sam, were you asked to be part of this Dell all-star line of podcasters? I don't. Yeah, no.
They didn't get the memo that we're the geeks, the podcast geeks. So.
Yeah, exactly. So I, and Jen, you're not getting a Dell check, are you?
No, not yet.
I know, right? What are they doing?
I checked the mail today, and
I was going to say, I love your confidence there. Not yet.
Not yet. It's coming someday, right?
So they put together, but they're like, oh, we're going to help these small businesses with resources because we put it together an all-star cast of podcasters. And I keep thinking about that brand, that messaging, and I'm like, but if I'm a small business owner, what does a podcaster have to do with small businesses?
Well, maybe if they podcast about small businesses, maybe. Well, I don't know if that was the case.
I don't know. I looked it up to see who the people were. I think Seth Godin was one of them. I think.
Okay. He's got a lot to share around messaging and getting your message right and communicating. That's it.
Oh, wow. So Dell actually, I just looked this up. Dell actually filed a trademark, Podference, presumably the mutant offspring of COVID-19 and a virtual conference.
Well, Podference just rolls off my tongue. I don't know about you.
Yeah,
I just want to say it, Podference.
And I think it's hilarious that they're like, hey, remember when Dell did these things? The Dell Pocket DJ? I vaguely remember that thing.
I have no idea what that is.
I don't know what. Is that a tiny TV? I don't know.
Was their attempt to make an iPod in 2004?
Oh my gosh, people have already noticed your camera.
Oh, no.
I know.
Ambition the Poet, we're getting there. We know this camera is amazing.
Yes. I know. I'm trying to convince them to up their game. We'll see.
Well, we only found out 10 minutes ago, in all fairness.
I just like to say
Amazon don't deliver that fast.
No, definitely not during that. I waited almost a month to get a DJ controller because they just refused to ship it.
FML.
I know, right? Anyway, apparently people are liking my beard.
Oh,
it's
Jen,
beautiful,
I'm
man.
about to
Thank
go
you,
on strike.
Anthony.
I feel like this is the Super Joe Pardo show
I
today.
wasn't asked either. Shake my head.
I haven't
So
got a beard. My camera's no good.
No,
I
let me
haven't
tell you
been to a
something.
hairdresser in months, okay?
I mean, in months. I've
Months.
been-
Hair is growing everywhere. My poor razor. No wax. I mean, I can't get waxed. I can't get plucked. I can't get dyed. I can't get.
no.
I mean, it is. I am a mess. I mean, oh,
Oh, my heart's going out to you, Jen.
thanks.
My heart
Sam.
is going out to you.
I'm sorry.
Thanks,
Jen. I'm sorry.
Sam.
I needed it. No, seriously though, beards, they really suck because I had to go to the store to get some of the stuff, to make the hole in the wall that I'll show later, and being in the store for so long, the beard is getting itchy under the mask, and I'm trying not to like touch my face, and it just is not. It is not good, and
See, I haven't had to experience this before.
yeah, no,
And
you
hope
don't
I
want
don't ever
It's
have
not
to
fun.
experience
No, please
this.
don't.
I
For everybody
will,
else's sake,
I'll work on my beard this week.
Oh, that's your one. That's your one thing I'm going to work on.
Yeah, we'll work on
That's a segment that we need to do. One thing we're going to work on this week.
Oh, our
Write
beard.
that down. Write that down.
I'm
Okay,
not- I
I'm writing
can't.
it down.
I can't. I
don't
can't
have
distract
a
myself.
notebook out here at the moment yet. I'm still getting situated out here in my new office, my new digs. Okay, so let's talk about
back to the
branding.
topic, right? Back to the topic. All right.
I'm gonna see it, Brent.
Hey, Brent. Thanks for everything out there. So we're going to obviously talk about some big brands that we have noticed getting the message right and wrong. But for your small business, I think there's some things to keep in mind when you're trying to hit that right tone. So I thought we could, go through some of those and, toss those ideas around. I think it's important to address what is happening, but also how it's affecting your specific customers and audience. I don't think you can bury your head in the sand during this time. Do you guys agree with that?
Yeah, totally agree with that.
Yeah. Okay.
And people don't want you to, right? Like,
No.
I've seen people get mad at brands for just like ignoring, like the social media or like the way that other people are or way that they're perceived or conveying their message right now. Like people are like getting mad because they're just like you're not even trying to acknowledge the fact that there's this thing going on.
I think that this is really interesting because there's no right or wrong. This is not a black and white subject. There is a lot of gray area because for the businesses that are doing well, we need them for our economy. So whilst those people can't stand up and say, oh my God, business is amazing, I also think it's inspiring to hear people that are doing well in business. So, and that can offend some people. And I think it's a good thing. And that's where there is a gray area. It can be a bit tricky.
Yeah, I agree with you, Sam. And I can't even count. I've lost count of how many times I have been inspired by how I've seen small businesses pivoting to keep their businesses thriving and alive, and the creativity and ingenuity I have seen, and how they've been innovating during this pandemic in ways that will have longevity, ways that will serve their businesses well in the post-pandemic era, whenever that's going to be. So yeah, I love to see it personally. I, like you, small businesses, are responsible for what, like 75% of the jobs in America. We want them to succeed. But yeah, we're not asking you to brag about it. Like, hey, I'm making tons of money here, but you can communicate with your audience and communicate how you're serving them and why. That never gets old. That never goes away. I don't know if we already talked about this, but did we talk about the goats and the Zoom? Did we talk about this? Okay.
No.
So I think this is a perfect example of a business pivoting and like doing it right. So this is about a farm, an independent farm somewhere, I don't know, maybe Vermont or something. And they, their sales of their meats and dairy products and things were really suffering from the pandemic. So they started renting out their goats. So you could have a goat show up on your Zoom call, one of their goats, dial in. And it was just something to make your Zoom call more fun, to add a little something different to your meetings and that sort of thing. And I think they charged $100 or something like that. And it was a huge success. And it was a way for them to support their farm. For the people that were purchasing the service, it was a way for them to liven up sometimes boring Zoom calls. So I thought it was brilliant. And I don't think they would have ever thought of it if it hadn't been for the pandemic.
No, that's so awesome.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
And I like that when we chose this topic last week, Jen, that you suggested that we look at how the big brands are doing it, because I think that's something that small business can do all the time, is tap into the R&D and the marketing budgets of the big companies and sort of have a look at how they're doing things and model these ideas in our business, like not copy them, but see how they're doing that and think, how could I change that or tweak that slightly and be able to do that in my business?
Yeah, absolutely. I love what you said there, Sam, about, taking advantage of their R&D dollars, the amount of dollars we might not ever have, and learn from it and incorporate it into our businesses. So smart, right?
Yeah.
So I wanted to point out Nike. So they I think really, they do this a lot, actually. They get their messaging just so right with whatever's going on sort of in our consciousness. So they have this message that they put out there that reads, "If you ever dreamed of playing for millions around the world, now is your chance. Play inside, play for the world." So I think that campaign that was, it's encouraging people to play inside as governments are enforcing social distancing measures. And it played to their audience perfectly. And and their brand ambassadors, such as Michael Jordan, LeBron James, they put that messaging out there too. So it was simple and it was effective. And it also accompanied a $15 million donation towards COVID-19 efforts. So the message paired with the action just, I think, was a perfect combination. Just right
I
on.
loved this one. I absolutely loved this one. This gave me all the feels. Like, this gave me goosebumps when I saw it, because it's tapping in all the feels, because it's tapping into the fact that we're all inside, we're all in this together, and let's use this time to inspire as many people as possible. I think this was absolutely 10 out of 10 spot on.
I get chills. I mean, we're all on the same team. That's what they're saying. We're all playing on the same team. Easy to forget when, the coronavirus, pandemic has been politicized to such a degree. It's so easy to forget that we're all on the same team, and Nike brings it home. I just love it so much.
I wanted to bring up Julie Mason's comment. The love the innovation.
Oh, hey, Julie.
Definitely inspiring. There's a guilt complex I've been experiencing because business has grown, not shrunk. You don't want to rub salt in the wounds of those who are struggling. That is difficult, right? Because not everybody is struggling through this. In some cases, people are flourishing. So I don't know. Does that mean that we should not be taking giant or pictures of giant stacks of money next to us during
definitely not doing
not that.
Is that the wrong branding message? Is that what I'm picking up on? Okay,
that would
probably,
be wrong.
Right?
So this is where there is such a great area, right? Because I know Julie very well. Julie's in one of my masterminds. She's an amazing lady that teaches LinkedIn. She's such a smart person. And by her talking about businesses growing, doesn't that inspire other people to actually grow their business too? However, it can also say, other people, and I've found this as well, saying, oh, well, it's all right for you, but we're shut. So it's such a tricky line to balance, because we know that we should hide the fact that we can actually help people through this situation.
Well, if you're shut down right now, I mean, that's that to me, like that's where you should be marketing the most, right? Because you have the most amount of time. Like you're literally not operating, so you have a lot of restaurants around here. I mean, I don't know about either of you, but a lot of restaurants around here, they're remodeling right now. They're gearing up for people to come back. Like, and they know it might not be for another couple of weeks. I mean, I just heard today down in Florida, they're going to start opening up phase 1's 25% capacity of restaurants will be able to open. Now, the problem with that is that you don't make enough money with 25% capacity to necessarily warrant to be open. So unless you're like Disney World, where you can kind of float, a certain percentage of that just to get people back to work and get people back on property and buying merchandise and stuff. Not everybody's going to have that luxury of like having those other streams of income to help supplant the fact that 25% of your throughput is not enough. There's only so many hours in the night for people to go out. Like people are going to stay up till 1, 2 in the morning to get a dinner table at every kind of restaurant.
And it is the perfect time for almost all businesses to be thinking about what business is going to look like a few months down the track. What can we do now to build our brand or to remodel or, I saw the same thing at our local shopping centre yesterday when I went to pick up groceries. A lot of the fashion stores were closed, but there were people inside working, rearranging stock. And I don't know, they may have even been packing online. I don't know. But there was still a lot of action down there. It was just behind closed doors.
Yeah. And I don't want to get to, I want to go back to Julie a little bit because, I think this is a bit of survivor's guilt, right? As a form of survivor's guilt. Like, the plane goes down and you're the only one that survives. Something along those lines. It's a real thing. Well, first, I think just the fact that she's really sensitive to it is probably a sign that she has nothing to worry about in terms of not being sensitive in her marketing messaging. But I think I can completely agree. I've had a little bit of that myself with Spirit because we were an online business to begin with. Our business was not hugely impacted. We've even grown a little bit since the pandemic. I feel incredibly fortunate. So we've pulled back some of our marketing and have done a lot more personal communication with our existing clients. Because of that, we're not out, screaming from the treetops, we're fine, we're great. That's not appropriate at all. But we still want people to know that we're there if they need us. Right. So I think that is perfectly fine. And Julie, I'm personally so glad you're doing well. I'm sure you're, putting money back into the economy, giving your clients the ability to do the same. You're probably hiring people or about to hire people. So these are all really good things. And for those of us who are doing well, I think we do have a little bit of a responsibility to give back in some way, whether that's, tipping 25% to your delivery driver or, contributing to COVID-19 relief funds, or whatever it is. I think we're all on the same team and we can give back in other ways. So good for you, Julie. I'm so glad you made that comment.
Yeah, totally. And you're right, Jen. Of people that I know in my inner circle are all hiring.
Yeah.
We're all hiring staff members. So we're just, sharing the love.
That's right. Oh, all right.
I got a branding a little there.
Yeah.
Important topic.
You want to move on to excuse me. You want to move on to the next one, Jennifer?
Yeah, sure. Let's see. What do we want to talk about here? There's so many.
How about the Steak-'em tweet?
Yeah, I like the Steak-'em tweet. So, Sam, do you know what? Do you have Steak-'em? Steak-'em?
No, and I wouldn't have even pronounced it like that. So I'm so glad I kept my mouth shut.
Okay, well, all of us in the U.S., I think, are familiar with Steak-'ems. It is frozen, thinly sliced steak of questionable quality that happens to taste really good when heated up with a lot of cheese on a steak and cheese sub. So
do you mean a cheesesteak?
You call it cheesesteak, I call it steak and cheese sub. We're all on the same team. We're all on the same team, Joe.
Okay.
All on the same team.
Okay. Brett Basham likes that fake meat.
Steak and cheese, cheesesteak, sub, hoagie, grinder. I don't know. We're just on the same team. That's all I know.
No, I'm sorry. There's someone here that is not on any of those teams.
What? Sam,
we don't do any of that stuff down here.
next time you're in the States, we're going to make you have a steakum.
Well,
we had a cheesesteak when she was in Philly.
Super Joe took us to get Philly cheesesteaks.
Yeah, we went to Jim's.
Okay, all right. So you're part of this world. All right. So so Steakum, their corporate Twitter account tweets, "Life is full of uncertainty and mystery. The more we learn, the more we realize how little we know. In times of doubt and existential angst, it's comforting to know one thing for sure: frozen beef sheets are good." I love it. I wish it had more capitalization in the right places, but I think they used humor in an appropriate manner. They did that by acknowledging what we're all feeling and going through, and also relating back to their product, because we've all grown up on Steakums. We've all had them. I think maybe they're in school lunches. I don't know. I think they may have been served at our school when I was growing up. So I think, again, appropriate messaging. I don't know. I went to public school, public school. No, it wasn't gourmet like food. I'm pretty sure it was like a Steakum like thing that we got sometimes.
Basha says uncertainty equals what is in those beef sheets.
Yeah,
well, as Jen was reading it out, that's exactly what I was thinking. That makes it even funnier when there's that sort of underlying piece of information that they've not covered it up. They're thinking everyone knows this. Let's just have a little dig here. I think it's hilarious.
It's fun. And you know what? I've always said there's a huge place for humor in marketing. It's relatable. People like to smile. People like to laugh. Definitely, you have to be sensitive at the same time. So I'm not saying that it's easy. There's definitely a professional marketing team on the Steakum corporate team. So anyway, but I applaud them for getting that messaging just right.
I applaud them for this tweet. When someone posts misinformation and you hesitate to engage because it's pointless to debate, remember that although you likely won't change their mind, you still have a chance to inform all the people who see that post. Your voice matters. Steakum bless.
Wow. I mean, they're getting into it, aren't they? They're like,
yes, yeah.
They're not standing down.
No, it's like Wendy's. Wendy's is they're like on point with their marketing messaging. That's for sure. With their tweets are hilarious.
Yeah, Wendy's has always been on point there.
So good.
So good. So
it is. I'm gonna give them a ding. Wendy's hits a ding.
Oh, got the
haven't given out any dings yet, but there's the ding. Okay, so let's see. How about Netflix?
That's what I was going to suggest. Let's talk about Netflix.
We'll pull this one up here.
Do it.
Finger looking good. Where is the Netflix?
There it is.
Right there.
How do you click on that?
I don't know if people can actually see that screen, but we're trying.
Try to make it as big as I can.
Yeah. So that image corresponds with their tweet that says, "Oh, honey, I'll do anything for you. So wash your hands." And then there's a diagram of how to properly wash your hands with soap and water. So important right now. So again, sensitive and informative with a little sense of humor too. Hand wash and chill.
Very
That's
clever.
what Brent says. Hand wash and chill. If they didn't tweet that, they need to hire you, Brent, on their marketing.
Absolutely.
Yeah, right? Like, why would they?
Yeah, why would they not?
And Eric, what's up, Eric? He says best steak sandwich, Flint's original Big John in steak and onion.
This is something we tend to be very opinionated about, is the best steak and cheese.
Yeah, you mean cheesesteaks.
I think you mean steak and cheese.
God, if they called that steak and cheese in Philly, I would not. It just no. Sorry.
I'm gonna get thrown out of Philly one of these days. Oh, okay.
Let's
All
see.
right. All right.
Well,
Let's
we've got
see. Okay,
some.
let's move on to
We've
the
got some
bad.
bad ones here.
Yeah, let's
Yeah,
move on
enough
to
of the
bad
good.
ones.
Yeah.
Let's see. I can open up this link
And
here.
two of the biggest companies.
Yeah.
Actually, a few big companies here,
Yeah.
which is a real shame to see the big companies just totally missing the point.
Yes. You
What was
think they
the-
would know better, and they should have the marketing dollars to.
Well, I was going to say they've got the
Match.
biggest budgets. Yeah.
I mean,
Well,
just
money
goes
doesn't always equate to greatness. I mean, you can't-
Absolutely.
Clearly not.
absolutely.
Yeah.
I think that's really should provide some hope and inspiration to small businesses. You don't need a big marketing budget to get it right, and a big marketing budget won't keep you from getting it wrong. So,
Mhm.
lessons to be had here.
I like literally had to think about this for a second. Like,
Okay.
why they wrote Coca-Cola again below their logo and then staying apart is the best way to stay united. I didn't even.
Oh,
had to think
I got
about
it straight away.
Oh, you did? Oh, it took me a
Yeah.
minute
Yeah.
to like think about what I was looking at here. That's not great.
All right. So did you guys? I thought this was maybe not as obvious why it was wrong,
Mhm.
because here Coca-Cola goes and they change the look of their logo. Their subtext to that is staying apart is the best way to stay united. On the surface, it doesn't seem that
Mhm.
different from the Nike message, right? But they got an extreme amount of backlash from this. So
I think you have to explain this one to me. 'Cause
yeah, so
don't
I
get it.
think the problem is that this campaign appeared to be opportunistic, a lot more so than the Nike campaign did. So I think with Nike, the messaging to me comes across as more genuine because they've had similar messaging in the past, and it's consistent with their sort of, we're on a team, we're playing together. Like, this is not a departure from such a far reaching departure from their normal, ad campaigns. But I think with Coca-Cola, this just did not come across as authentic and as genuine. And it seemed like they were just trying to take almost advantage of the situation. I think that this is how the optics read, as they say. I don't know, honestly, if I had seen this, if this would upset me as a marketing campaign.
Look,
But
at first, I actually saw it and went, yeah, I get it. I don't really see an issue in it. When I was reading the article, what it brought up was the fact that they'd spent a huge amount of their marketing budget putting this in billboards outside. And
Yeah.
it was that part of it that was not meshing with their message. It's like, we'll stay apart, but here, look at our signs all outside in Times Square.
yeah, I think that's
Yeah.
a huge problem. And they didn't pair it with any sort of altruistic effort. So where Nike had their messaging, but they also had action behind it. So, that was, something that was
Are we
so
sure that they didn't
appreciated.
donate anything?
According to this article, they did not.
No, I don't think they did.
So maybe they eventually did, but they didn't do it in conjunction with the campaign. So
they phoned it in, and
They
it was
phoned
a
it
lazy
in.
thing. I keep thinking of like having the two polar bears like hold like Coke bottles on like a stick and like standing apart and like clanking them together. Something like that would make more sense because like you're apart, you're enjoying your Cokes apart. I'm not swinging a miss, I guess, but that's all right for me.
Well,
I was trying to think of how you could like have two bottles clank but not be standing right on top of each other to do it. And apparently that's what I was saying, like you put it like a stick or something. Or like two old people using like the grabbers, and like you have the Coke cans in the grabbers, and they're, like, sitting in their like their scooters or something, and it's like they're facing that way, like away from us, and you see the backs and just like clank like that. There you go.
I think
Well,
that
the
would
polar
be
bears
cute.
is the Coca-Cola polar
Someone needs
bears.
to totally need you on their marketing
Oh,
department.
okay.
Joe.
Now I get it. Now I see. It just took a few minutes.
Oh, come on, give it.
for the hamster wheel to start rolling a little bit.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah, exactly.
thank
It took
you,
a
Brent.
while for the
I
train to come
appreciate
into
it.
the station.
Yes,
This is exactly
yes.
what those marketing meetings look
Thank you,
like in
Brent.
their high up offices. You know, they start a little
People
rough,
like
but
me
then
going, huh? What?
Well, the polar bears. Did you not
man.
understand the polar bears? That's their thing. Like that's what
No,
their
I'm lost on the
every
polar bears.
Christmas they that's their commercial is. See, Brent gets it because Brent also lives in Atlanta where like that's like their home base. But that's their thing. Is like the polar bears. Like look up Coca-Cola polar bears. Like all the
Okay.
commercials from like the 90s and into
Yeah,
the 2000s.
yeah, I know,
are all
yeah.
polar bears.
I
Yeah, that's what
somehow-
I was saying.
Okay.
Like but it's also not winter, so I guess it would make. With two old people with the grabbers. I like that one.
I like
Yeah,
it.
it's a good one. It's a good
Thank
one.
you.
I approve. I'll take that one.
Yeah.
Whew, all right.
All right. What,
All right.
Let's see. So we got the ugly, which
This is
apparently
downright
includes-
ugly, this one. This
offends
this is-
Sam. This offends
This is
Sam.
offensive.
Oh, okay.
Take it away, Sam.
Explain.
No,
why,
no,
why
you go for it,
Why
Jen.
am I offended today? I thought only Americans could be offended, Sam.
Oh, really? Oh, no.
I thought it was our job to be offended.
I'm a
to find
child of the
something else.
world.
Yes, you are. Well, you talked about the boss today, and I was like, oh, hey, that's why we get along so well.
Exactly.
Well, Sam, what's gotten you so upset is Amazon CEO Jeff Bezos. He faced backlash after publicizing a relief fund the public, you and I, can donate to for his contract employees working during the COVID-19 pandemic. The Amazon Relief Fund was created with $25 million from the e-commerce company to assist its employees and partners, specifically those who are responsible for the necessary task of delivering all the products consumers need across the U.S. It's focused on supporting our U.S.-based delivery associates employed by delivery service providers, our Amazon Flex delivery partners, and associates working for Integrity Staffing, yada, yada, yada. So you can imagine why he faced such backlash. Here he is, is he the richest man in the world? Maybe one close. He's up there, right?
He's right up there. I don't know if he is, but he's definitely right up there.
This is not somebody we want to donate to when he has the funds to support his own contract employees. So this did not go over well, as you can imagine. This was not something that the public appreciated in any way.
No.
Bad call.
We've got everyone at home purchasing more online than normal, making his profits go through the roof, and he can't look after his own staff. Like, this is the absolute epitome of ugly as far as I'm concerned.
Right. And this is on top of already plenty of bad press about the working conditions in the Amazon warehouses, working conditions during the pandemic for drivers, maybe lack of safety, poor working conditions. This was not a great move by Jeff. And I'd like to call him Jeff because he lives, he doesn't live far from me. We're practically neighbors. So yeah, Jeff, what do you think? What were you thinking? What were you thinking with that cold?
I don't
black
think he
heart
was
of yours?
thinking.
Opportunity.
No,
people
that's not.
wanting to
That's
do something nice,
opportunistic.
like,
That's
opportunistic. That's how I view it. I think that I think it is really not a good look. And are we certain that he made the decision? That it wasn't somebody else.
It probably wasn't. There's
like,
probably a big board there, right?
Sure, yeah.
Well,
But-
I mean, it might not even be a board, just like, I don't know, high up management that isn't the board making a decision like, hey, like, you know what would sound really cool if we did this? And like, nobody thought like, hey, the optics of the richest man in the world's company is asking for money to, support its people. That's not okay. But hey, with that said, like Walmart's been, said to give out pamphlets on how to apply for like state benefits and stuff for federal benefits while you're working there. As part of their like, hey, here, welcome, thanks for working here, and like, here's your federal packet to figure out how to get, the rest of the money that you'll need to survive while you work here.
Wow.
Now, I don't know. I mean, this goes back to a documentary from a while ago now, so I don't know if things are still like that, but things like that happen. Apparently, everyone's looking for a loophole to save a little money.
Yeah,
on a big scale.
It's true.
Big scale.
Well, I'd love to know how our audiences have adjusted their marketing and their messaging during this time. If they've made any intentional changes, if they've pulled back and are hesitant to market. I would just love to know, because I think we're all going through this. We're all trying to navigate it the best we can. And we're going to make mistakes, innocent mistakes. So we need to be a little forgiving of ourselves. But I would love to know how everyone is doing.
Brent says people want cheap. If we didn't buy it, the business model wouldn't work, but it does. Yeah.
In reference to Amazon. Yeah.
Well, Walmart too, right? Like we all want it cheap. And if you're going to get it cheap, you can only go so cheap before it's like, you got to find other ways to like make little cuts across, like thousands of stores. It makes a huge, huge difference. So it's unfortunate. Let's see, Brent also says biggest company in the world, but Apple is also huge on the other side,
and they're not cheap.
Yeah, they are not cheap. Their products are not cheap, and they spend $1 billion a month on research and development. A company that has like effectively 10 products, and they spend like $1 billion a month on research and development. Insane. Yeah. So I think people, if you have, any questions about branding, your branding messaging, or if you want to, get your comments in, we can read them next week. If you want to send them over to questions@businessgeeks.com, you can also suggest us any topics you want to hear about, or that you want to learn more about, things like that. I definitely encourage you to send it to questions@businessgeekspodcast.com.
I think that Jen made a very important point, that we are going to make mistakes. We're human. I think she needs some music, Joe.
I didn't even get a bell.
Yeah, where's
the bell for human? So for anyone who didn't hear earlier, we do have theme music now that plays like this.
But do we dance well together, Brent? He says we work well together, but I want to know if we dance well together.
Oh, Brent. I want to take Brent into a private room and quiz him about his comments and find out exactly why we work well together, what he loves, who's his favorite, what's his favorite moment. You want to just come into a private room with me for 10 minutes? And some questions.
Does this need to be a
just a few questions for you, Brent. Don't run away.
Wait, all right. You got some questions? I think you got questions. I can sit and wait.
Oh my goodness, that's so good.
Now I'm.
What show is that from?
That's from Jeopardy. You don't have Jeopardy in Australia?
We haven't had Jeopardy since the 80s.
Wow.
But I knew I recognized it from somewhere. See, I feel like I'm so left out today. I don't know any of this stuff.
It's time for the Daily Double.
Yeah.
Or the Daily Triple.
Well, yeah. Well, let's wrap up our good, bad, and ugly brand messaging here, so we can get on with our one cool things.
I think my biggest takeaway is, sorry, I was just filling the space there.
I spaced out and didn't hear the last sentence. But I think you said something about wrapping up. Okay.
I've
Yes,
got your
let's wrap
back,
up the
Jen.
good, bad,
I've
and
got your
ugly.
back.
Okay.
Thank you,
So
Sam.
I think that it's really important to just sort of pay attention to what other people are doing and start to understand or start to feel into what feels good for you or what doesn't, and just to use that to give you the idea of how you can market. But definitely now is not the time as ever to stop marketing. So, don't get afraid to say the wrong thing. Just like really feel into what you're feeling and how you feel when other people market. But we got to keep the economy ticking along.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think you said something really powerful there, so I'm gonna give you a ding there.
Oh, I got the
ding. Don't be afraid of saying the wrong thing, because you can always walk it back. Look, if Amazon can walk it back that they're asking for donations for their employees, like, you can walk it back too, right? I mean, I've received an email actually just today from an email that was from yesterday, and both of you actually might have seen that email where they were trying to walk back their comments about certain things. I don't want to get too specific because but it just, like, it's very obvious that you have the ability to walk things back. Like, everybody does, right? We have elected officials that can walk things back that seem pretty terrible. We have, richest people in the world being able to walk things back. That's like, you couldn't spare a little bit, like a little bit money. Like, I mean, is it really going to make that big of a difference at the end of the day for you? Or like your great grandchildren's, lives? Like, come on, man. Like, come on now. Like, it gets to a point where it's like, the money's not going to stop anytime soon anyway. So get over it. So don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to try, and don't be afraid to put messages out there, right? And create like a spreadsheet of ideas of like what can I break down and then create 20 pieces of content that I could spread out over the course of the next 3 weeks that, like, just lets people know, hey, we're still here and we're still, whatever we are doing or can do, we are doing. I think it's really important that they hear from you, because otherwise they might forget about you by the time we get through all this.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Hearing yesterday on the radio, they were talking about, like, baseball, like in baseball terms, right? Again, Sports Talk Radio. They're like, oh, I thought we were like close to like the 7th inning. There's 9 innings, Sam, in case you don't know. But they're like, turns out, no, we're actually like in the 2nd inning, and we got a long way to go.
We got a long way to go.
Yes.
Yeah, I agree with that. The communication is important, and we're small businesses here, so we have the ability to take advantage of our smallness and reach out personally and really find out what your customers need. I mean, we are nothing without our customers, our clients. We're nothing. We don't exist without them. So if hopefully you've cared about them from day one, but they probably need you now, and maybe you don't know exactly how they need you, and you need to be brave enough to find out.
Yeah.
And not be scared just because you think they're not maybe going to need you. So, I think it's a whole new way of not a new way of doing business, but it's maybe a little bit more of an intense way to conduct yourself in business.
I love that. A little bit intense.
A little bit intense.
Massively intense.
Just a little bit of intenseness, just a little. Dialing it up just a little. All right. Oh, Brent.
Jen, thank you for doing all that research today. It was brilliant.
Yes, thank you so much, Jen.
I try. I mean, it's all for the podcast. I've also donated a kidney on behalf of the podcast.
Oh, gee, thank you.
But nobody talks about that.
Hang on, the rug.
Oh, geez.
So, all right. So we have 2 one cool things to wrap up this week's episode. Jen, would you like to, or was it Jen? Yeah, Jen, do you want to start with yours?
Yeah, I wanted to talk about this app called Switch It. That's just as it sounds, Switch It app.com. And I came across this because I had a specific need having to do with my small business grit Summit, which is happening May 18th to 29th. I will go ahead and plug it. I have no shame.
Yeah, good.
So smallbusinessgrit.com. So as part of this online experience, and I'm calling it an experience, we have multiple guided networking events happening. And so we wanted to facilitate connection, strategic partners, collaborators, referral partners. We wanted to facilitate those relationships. And so we were trying to troubleshoot how these people could collect each other's contact information easily on a Zoom call. So we did some research, and this became our solution. It's a Switch It app. It's a digital business card, and it has a lot of really cool features and a free level. And we tested this out already. Once you make a card, you get a QR code. And so we're doing this a couple different ways. So you can hold the QR code up to the camera, and then you get out your cell phone with your camera app and you take, a picture, and it brings up the contact information and it put it directly into my contact list in my iPhone. Super, super slick, super easy. We're also going to see if we can get our attendees to get a Switch It app account and get their QR codes done before the networking event, so they could even do a screen share and we can capture it that way. But it was super easy. It literally just took a second to scan and get contact information into my iPhone contacts. So I thought it was really, really cool. I'm really excited about using it and giving that ability for our attendees to connect, capture that information. And you can include not just your standard contact information, but you can include media like videos and photos and multiple links. And so you can really enrich your contact card, tremendously. So the Switch It app, check it out. I am addicted to it.
Love it. Thanks, Jen.
Yeah, that is awesome. I was trying to pull up the website, but it would not actually open, so I ended up going to archive.org. Oh, now it opens.
That's it. Yeah, that's it.
No, but I went to archive.org, like the Wayback Machine, to pull up their website because it was not loading.
Oh, okay. I did not have a problem, but yeah, you found it. Yeah, so check it out for all of you that are doing virtual events and want your attendees to be able to connect without having to put a link in the chat or however else you're doing it. This was super. It was contactless, so super easy.
Super good.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So yeah, my one cool thing this week is this camera and how I got it set up. So Canon, for the longest time, Canon cameras had not enabled you to use your Canon camera as a webcam without buying like an adapter card, like a USB capture card or something to that effect, Camlink 4K or something to that effect. So apparently, just like a week ago, they were like, "Hey, it'd be really cool if we just released this software to like the world," and it's in beta. And it definitely is in beta because I've had a little bit of issues here and there. I mean, fortunately, like fingers crossed, it's been working. But you can see all the cameras that it works with. So it even works with some newer PowerShot cameras. So you don't even have to have DSLR, but like I'm using a Canon M50, so it's like a mirrorless little camera versus some of these bigger cameras that they have here that have mirrors in them. So yeah, totally free. And obviously it works. And if you put the right kind of lens on it, then you absolutely have a way to use a way better camera. So just to show everybody like the difference, I'm going to switch my camera over to the webcam. So this is the webcam. I mean, it looks good.
I remember you when you were just a regular guy on a regular camera.
Yeah. I mean, it's not bad. Like, I mean, a Logitech C920 it's a staple. A lot of people still use it, and I don't blame them. In fact, I would still use it myself if they didn't come up with the software, and I happen to have a thing to like mount it behind my monitor. But so we're gonna go from this to this.
To making Jen and Sam look not so
Yeah.
Well, I'm looking at it on Facebook right now, right? I'm watching the video feed, and I'm not. It's hard to tell like that it looks that good.
How much
I
better
mean-
do you want to look, Joe? Like just
Yeah.
what?
just
I mean,
the
what
video-
more
Seriously,
do you
what was-
want?
What was the first thing that Jen and I both said when we came into the live stream? It's like, whoa.
Whoa, new
Yeah,
camera,
it was.
Joe.
It wasn't that I was wearing a collared shirt. It was that. Whoa.
Oh,
Jen, what
don't
kind of
you
camera
worry.
is it?
That is about to come up.
Oh, okay, good to
Brent
know.
says Joe's gone Hollywood on us. Yes, Brent, he has.
He
I-
sure has, Brent.
Yes.
I apparently I have. Well, he grew a beard. The beard is gone. Like the next time I get a shower, that is gone. Whether it's tonight or in the morning or whatever, like that's gone. It's gone. It's gone. It's by. It's too itchy. It's too itchy. But thank you. I need a
See,
haircut.
I
That's what
thought
need.
when
Like,
everyone was coming on at the beginning, it was like, oh, Joe, the beard. Oh, Joe, the camera. What they didn't realize is that button down.
yes, it's all in the shirt.
It's all in the shirt.
And just to show everybody real quick, so why I said in the beginning of the show I'm aching and hurting is because I put a doorway to our other garage that was a window.
Did you
And
miss
made
the
it
other
into a garage.
garage? You just wanted to go visit it every once in a while?
Yeah, well, because you had to open up 2 doors to get to the other garage.
Oh, that's
so
so
2
hard.
doors.
2
It
doors.
is.
Oh, my
Oh my
goodness.
God. And there's probably
literal-
a maze
oh.
you had to walk through too.
It was insane. I hated it. Melissa hated it too.
Oh, wow.
We should have did this years ago. It's life changing for sure.
All right.
Life
Well,
changing for sure.
I hope Narnia's on the other side.
It is. It is. More space. More they can grow in everything. Open floor plans. That's a thing. Come on, everybody wants an open floor plan.
Absolutely.
Oh my gosh, Joe. All right. Am I the only one again that has a grind my gears?
Oh, you do? Oh, I didn't realize. Oh, I would have
I
did that
did-
first. You didn't write it in the notes, so I
I
didn't. know
did.
there
I
was a grandma-
did. I did.
Oh,
Unless
Joe,
I-
you and I
Looking at
don't
those right
read
now.
properly, apparently.
Unless
It's a
unless
big
I-
space.
Oh, it is. I must have forgotten to
Yeah,
hit paste.
I would have totally did that first because I don't want to end with a
Oh.
grind my gears. That's terrible.
I don't know where I put
But we're
it.
gonna do it anyway.
Oh my gosh.
Do it live. Let's
I
go.
swear I did it. Okay, so my grind my gears this week is that the Small Business Administration has postponed Small Business Week, which should have been happening right now.
Hmm.
And I was really surprised because they just put an announcement on their website that it's postponed. They don't have a reschedule date, and I am just flummoxed.
Hmm. Isn't this
Flummoxed.
the time that we should be coming together as small businesses?
Yes, we need the Small Business Administration more than ever. And by the time you get your act together, some small businesses will have failed. This is the time when we need to focus on small businesses, the importance they play in society, in our economy, in our lives. Not say, oh, we're just going to reschedule. Everything else was canceled. Let's cancel Small Business Week. They justified it by saying there were a lot of in-person events involved in the traditional Small Business Week. But obviously, all of those would be canceled. I don't understand. It's been months since the pandemic has hit us and started affecting us and changed our lives. I don't understand why they couldn't have pivoted Small Business Week in so many ways to highlight small businesses through video, virtual events, advertising, their website. I mean, there's so much they could have done to help some of these small businesses, particularly those in the retail and restaurant sectors that have been particularly devastated by this pandemic. They dropped the ball. They dropped such a huge ball. I'm so disappointed. It's 1 week, people, 1 week a year. We were counting on you. And then just to not have a lot of information about when it's going to be rescheduled. I just am so hurt my feelings as a small business owner.
Can I play devil's advocate for a second?
No.
I just thought that maybe those people that plan it, that's not the only thing they do. I assume, right? So they're probably kind of busy and hectic and trying to figure out their own.
You know who else is busy and hectic and trying to figure out their own stuff is our small business owners who've had to pivot on it. Who've had to pivot on a dime in order to continue to feed their families and pay their mortgages. We can't be like, oh, we're just going to put this off a week. No, they're hustling and trying to like figure everything out on their own. The Small Business Association exists because they're a support organization for small businesses in America. For them to fail us now is inexcusable.
Do you think that'll hurt them long term, or is Jen revoking her allegiance? No,
they probably won't be affected long term. It's an association, an organization. I don't even know who funds it. Is it government funded? No, they'll be fine.
Well, lucky you have a summit coming up to support those small business owners, Jen. Yes. And America is saying thank you for taking the reins.
Oh, well, thank you, Sam.
And what website can people go to get their tickets?
Smallbusinessgrit.com.
I can't believe that wasn't taken.
I know.
Right?
So good.
That's a great name.
Thank you.
That's a really great name.
You have to have a lot of grit to be a small business owner, and we're proving that more than ever during these trying times. And I hate that term, but I just used it too late.
So good.
Anyway, so that's it for my grind my gears, and that's it for this episode, I believe.
I think that
pretty
much wraps it up. Let me see if I can take it out of here. So if you have any questions or suggestions, or just want to come out and say hi, go to your email inbox and hit send to questions@businessgeekspodcast.com. You can catch us next Monday, 8 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, or Tuesday, 10 a.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time, the same place, which is facebook.com/businessgeekspodcast. You can go to businessgeekspodcast.com to get all of our past episodes, and check us out on YouTube. We are on YouTube as well, which I don't have the link, but if you go to businessgeekspodcast.com, there's a link there on the homepage to go check out our YouTube page where you can watch all these replays, as well as on Facebook as well. Everybody, I hope you and your family stay safe, and I will see you all we will see you all next week. I'm gonna hit that our intro music one last time, just to celebrate the fact that we are getting a little more sophisticated here. Sophisticated in the sense that my dress is apparently upgraded as well. Take care, everybody.